We're getting some new information as to why the Cars Tour decided to penalize Connor Jones following the race at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway a couple of weeks ago. I wrote this up over at stockcarreport.com. This information is coming to us from Cars Tour staffer Carson Illich on the most recent episode of the Door Bumper Clear podcast, which she is a co-host of. So just to kind of provide you some context, in a post to Facebook, the Cars Tour announced why Jones was penalized, and they said that he was penalized for performing or participating in actions detrimental to stock car racing or the Cars Tour, and any act which endangers another competitor, official, spectator, track staff, or track services personnel. Again, they posted this over on Facebook. And for those violations, they fined him $500 and placed him on probation for the remainder of the 2025 season. Obviously, he paid that fine because he was back in action at Dominion this past weekend. The series did not clarify what actions were detrimental or what act endangered another competitor. However, many assumed it was due to the post-race scuffle he was involved in after he confronted fellow competitor Parker Eatmon. This is video here. I'm not going to play it. Played it in previous videos. If you want to watch it, you can. Just, again, go to the link, stockcarreport.com. You can find this article there in the description, and you can watch that video. So I assume that was the case. I mean, that's what was happening. That's what happened. And they didn't tell us why he was getting penalized. They weren't specifically stating any reason for it. They didn't say because he got in a scuffle with Parker Eatmon. They didn't say because he was burning it down on pit road, etc. It just says performing or participating in actions detrimental to stock car racing or the Car Tour, and any act which endangers another competitor, official, spectator, track staff, or track services personnel. I mean, extraordinarily vague, and the fact that he got in the scuffle with Eatmon, I think, led most of us to believe that was why he was getting penalized. However, Illich, who is the head of marketing and partnerships for the Cars Tour, as well as co-host of the Door Bumper Clear podcast, revealed that Jones was not fined for his altercation with Parker Eatmon, but for how he entered the pit area. During the most recent episode of the Door Bumper Clear podcast, journalist Matt Weaver criticized the Cars Tour for not allowing the drivers to fight. And so she responded to this saying, "Connor Jones is a great example. I told you we wish we could. I mean, we can fight. Connor Jones is a great example. They thought that we fined him for fighting at Langley, and we didn't. It was for the way he pulled in the pit area." She then added, "I think unless you're bringing a jack handle or like a literal weapon to the fight, have at it." Now, obviously, the discussion continued, and they were primarily talking about NASCAR and Carson Hocevar and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and mainly noting that the big issue is that you have the big crew guys usually get involved, and instead they need to allow the drivers to handle it themselves. And I definitely think that it is what needs to happen. That is kind of what I've been advocating or talking about for quite some time. It needs to be handled like a hockey fight. The rest of the team typically understands that you're going to have your one guy duke it out with the other team's guy, and you handle it, and you don't really get involved. Now, sometimes, obviously, you do have full line fights, right? That does happen sometimes. So that probably is going to happen, but that's what the NASCAR security should be there for, to try to stop that. But I also think it does come from the teams too, like the team members, the crew members, etc. They need to be able to kind of hold off and let the drivers handle it themselves. And I think we've seen that in a couple of cases, right? I think the Ross Chastain, Noah Gragson kind of fight there, I think that was actually a good case, right? And that's kind of what you want to happen. Let them handle it, settle it outside the car, because as Matt Weaver noted, if you're not letting them settle it outside the car, they are then turning their cars into weapons on the racetrack, and you don't want that to happen, because I think that's way worse than getting into a fight, because now you're using your car, and obviously these cars are extraordinarily safe now, but there's still a risk there involved, right? I mean, we've seen drivers get injured even in these cars, and they've made improvements to them, right? Kurt Busch, he's done. He had that concussion at Pocono, which they're going to this weekend. He just in qualifying, right? Or I think it was a qualifying lap, and he was done after that. So there is a risk involved there, and you don't want to have them doing that. You want them settle it outside of the car. Let them have at it. Let it be like a hockey fight. And I really think that has to be coming from. I think NASCAR can encourage that, but it's really going to come from the teams, and the teams really have to stay out of it and let the drivers kind of go at it themselves and let them handle it. I think that it will really be on car store security, NASCAR security, etc., to try to allow those drivers to do that, because obviously you're going to have like press and everything there. They're crowding things like that, can just kind of create a chaotic moment, and you got to try to keep that away. Hockey, obviously, there's no press. You're on the ice, on the rink, etc. A little bit more chaotic, kind of in a pit road, or even back in the infield, etc. And there could be stuff lying on the ground, etc. We saw this with the fight between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch and their teams. They were on like the back of a hauler. There's tires. There's all kinds of equipment lying around that people could trip over, etc. And you don't really want to have that there. So that's going to be hard to manage, but I definitely feel like that is something that they should try to do. They should try to let these guys just kind of have at it and try to let the drivers duke it out. But anyways, kind of rambling there, but that is your update on the Cars Tour. Connor Jones was not penalized for getting in that scuffle with Parker Eatmon. He was penalized for the way he entered pit road. It's good to have this clarification. I think that Cars Tour should tell us in their update here on why he's being penalized. Maybe they told Connor Jones over a phone call, etc., and explained it to him. But for, I think, transparency, they should be putting that here in their post on Facebook to the public as well, so people know, and we're not just kind of going off the assumption, because I do think, based on what we saw at Langley, I think it was safe to assume that he was indeed being penalized for that scuffle, because that was the main thing that happened post-race. So maybe Cars Tour can improve on that a little bit, but maybe they want to be vague. Who knows? I feel like NASCAR likes to be vague all the time, so they don't actually have to kind of explain themselves as to why they're penalizing people. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.